Welcome to the Morning Formation. This episode is powered by Act Now Education. Warriors, fall in. It's time for formation. So folks, welcome to the Morning Formation today. I'm joined with Sumeya Gibril, who's joined me before, actually 2 other times on the podcast. Sumeya is the founder of Rise Above, Be Relentless Foundation, a nonprofit organization that is committed to empowering communities, the military sexual trauma community, through healing, mentorship, relentlessness, and self-belief. With a powerful backstory and unwavering mission, Sumeya's organization is making waves through the innovative programs, events, and grassroots engagements that she's coming up with. And today, we're going to talk about a gala that's coming up in August and a golf tournament in September. Sumeya, thank you for joining me on the Morning Formation today.
Thank you so much for having me again, KP. Hi, Formation Nation. How are you doing?
Formation Nation.
Yeah, I think that should be.
That's a new one. Can I coin that? The Formation Nation. I love how when I'm just having a regular conversation, stuff like that comes up. I was talking to Tyrone Hewitt earlier, and he brought up how some employers are veteran friendly, but not veteran ready. And I was like, I've never heard that phrase before, but I think that's so wise, right?
It is. You never know what gems people hold, you know?
No doubt. I'm so fortunate to have folks like you in my circle. Like, straight up, you are a straight up baller, from learning on our last episode where you came from to where you are now. I mean, you really exemplify girl power. I mean, in every way, shape. It's not something you just say, but you walk the walk as well. And so I'm extremely fortunate to have you in my circle. And it's great to hear about your nonprofit that you've been running. Can you start off by telling us what inspired you to create Rise Above, Be Relentless Foundation?
I started Rise Above and Be Relentless Foundation because I'm a survivor of military sexual trauma because of sexual harassment and childhood sexual trauma from like age 6 to 11 with that domestic violence. If somebody asked me about my traumas, I would be like, do you need a menu? And I joke about that. You know, it's a way of coping. And I was just tired and angry of people not just getting away with it, but being rewarded. Like in the military, if you accuse somebody of sexual harassment, assault, rape, they'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to do something about it. And then this person is promoted and they're moved to another location. And, you know, the woman is just either she loses rank or she's labeled as this problematic person. And it's just, and it just keeps happening and happening again. And even in my community, even in society, instead of like asking like, hey, are you okay? They're like, no, we sweep these things under the rug. And this is verbatim. And it's just, it just made me so angry. And it's like, and even if you say as a survivor, hey, I'm gonna move on now, you know, but all I ask of you is like, hey, ask me how I'm doing, check up on me. But communities and societies, they get so uncomfortable, they just rather pretend it didn't happen. And they ignore the signs, whether you're depressed, stressed, or you're feeling suicidal. It's like, as long as you're not talking about it out loud, they just kind of like cover their ears, cover their eyes. And then when you put it out in the front, you know, and just kind of like want to talk about it, they do victim blaming and they protect the abusers. It just made me angry. It made me angry how, you know, you survive this terrible things, heinous things, and then you have to explain yourself and you have to hide. It didn't make sense to me. Even as a kid, I'm a kid who always, you know, asks why. Anybody tells me to do something, I'm like, why? Why am I doing it? What's the purpose? And like once I've healed from all these trauma and I have understood that I'm valuable just because I exist, you know, and just because somebody harmed me, it doesn't mean it takes away from my value. And I stepped back and I was like, who do these people think they are? Like, so wait, so you're gonna abuse me, and then for the people who are not there for me or protected me, and then you didn't do your job as a person who's supposed to be protecting me, and then on top of that, you're going to care about what people will think or society will think or community will think instead of actual my well-being, if I'm okay as a person. And instead of making it right, you're just going to be like, no, let's sweep this under the rug. I'm like, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm tired of it. I'm like, where do they get this audacity from to be the abusers, the negligent individuals, and then they come back and they're like, make you feel bad. I feel like you should be angry too, but channel this anger in a good way to do something good, which what I'm doing for, I'm using all this anger to do a change, be a force of change and kind of be like, you know what? I don't have to accept that. Nobody's coming to save me, so I have to save myself. But yeah, it's just, I started it because I was just so angry at society, at the community. And I'm just like, I'm not going to accept that. I don't think so. You don't get away with it. You don't get to be rewarded for it. I don't think so. It's just like, no. Yeah, I just started saying no, and I'm not going to accept the scenarios that the media, society, community is throwing at me. I just started saying no, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't think so. So I decided to be more audacious and just shift that shame that they put on survivors and victims back onto them. I'm like, you should be ashamed. You're the one who did this act. You're the one who was negligent. I just got sick of it. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm just like, no. That's why I started. I'm like, no. This is just kind of like an act of defiance. Just taking your power back.
I would say in the last few years, military sexual trauma, the topic in itself has kind of gone both ways. There's been false accusations. There's been real accusations. The challenge is finding that fine line between who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth. Do you know anyone that's ever been falsely accused before of military sexual trauma? Or, I mean, we've seen it in the media and stuff, right?
Yeah. So I don't personally know somebody who's accused falsely, but I've heard of it. And like, I have a son. So it's just like, I would hate for something like that to happen to him. And
Right.
that makes me, that would scare me, and like in my video my promotional video for this campaign, at the end I named the rapists, the abusers, and two of them one of them name is Abdurazak, the other one's Abdurazak Khalifa, but they're both in Eritrea. Like that happened when I was a kid, right? Not the one in the States. And people thought it was this person in the States. I was like, that's not him, and it's not fair to that person.
Right.
And then that one that was here, Jamal Shumbash, is like, he had a case before, and I'm like, this is him. But it's just like, it's not fair for people who didn't do anything, who didn't harass anybody, who didn't assault anybody, for their names to be thrown into a mud. Because like, my goal is not to be like us versus them. It's just more like, this is something evil, and men and women need to get together to fix it, to stop it, and it's not fair that people get accused wrongly. And when women or men like accuse individuals wrongly, unjustly, it makes it really hard for the actual survivors to be believed, because it's already hard to be believed in a society we live in. It just makes it extremely difficult. And it's important that we have credibility. We are who we say we are. We stand behind our words, and we're courageous. That's what I like to, have a foundation, an organization that is, credibility is very important. Integrity is very important. We want to have, a way to, vet individuals who are saying these things. So let's say, for example, somebody says, this happened to me. So we're not going to go like, we're not in the rage bait business, right? And do your due diligence, And if you end up accusing somebody wrongly, then you make it right. So we do our best to be credible and do our due diligence when these kind of things happen.
We talked about that beforehand, because there are folks out there that will jump on the bandwagon early before there's been any kind of research, any kind of investigation. A lot of these folks that are abusers have a track record. It's not like a one-time thing. It's something that continuously happens over and over and over again. And I think that that's important for me to underline, because military sexual trauma is something that I haven't covered, because there's been so many people that have been falsely accused, in civilian and military, that have lost their careers by being falsely accused. And so I'm really careful about making sure that I'm not interviewing someone that's just jumping on the rage bait, like you mentioned. And that's what I like about what you're doing with your nonprofit, that you are having some form of like, all right, let's take a breath, let's take a step back, let's look at the facts, let's see if this is really something that we really want to get behind. Because there have been cases out there where I've seen people's like careers and lives get ruined over someone else that's just malicious. So I think that's where your nonprofit really is different from these other influencers and nonprofits out there, is that you understand that there's two sides to this and that you don't just blindly believe everyone that makes accusations. And I just want to make sure that we underline that. And um, the phrase "rise above, be relentless." Why did you come up with that as a name?
So when we were preparing for my company, Phoenix Global Shipping's like a tagline, me and my videographer were working and we were going back through my history. I feel like everything, even the company, led to this nonprofit. Rise above means rising above the hate, the oppression, the discrimination, and just taking charge of your life. Because you can experience harsher like experiences and you can come out stronger. And then being relentless means that tough moments are not the end. They're just an opportunity to get creative, find like an alternative path, and never give up. Because I found myself in my life, I have to rise above a lot of things. Otherwise, if I just stick to something, I'm like, oh, this person is being racist to me. This person hates me. This person, I'm not going to get anything done. So I just have to be like, okay, yes, this is hurtful, but I have to move forward because I'm not in that area in my life anymore. I have freedom now. I have many options. We're fine. Like we have more opportunities. Let's just focus on that. And just kind of like that one moment, those abuses are not definition. They don't define who you are as a person. And there has to be always like, you have to find an alternative path. Otherwise, you will lose your mind because you're just like, I'm like, these things happen for a reason. And I might not understand the reason, but I have to keep moving forward and do something good out of this evil. You just have to move forward. It's the only way.
Yeah, that's actually a really powerful message in itself, is moving forward, because I know your background. You're from North Africa, right?
East
Is that
Africa, actually.
East
Eritrea.
Africa? East Africa. You're from East Africa. You migrated to the United States at a very young age, and then you worked for CBP, Customs Border Protection, for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're running your own international business. And culturally, like where you're from, like a woman running a powerful business is not exactly ideal, right? So you mentioned before in the other podcast that um, you had difficulties trying to get business because you couldn't have meetings with men, basically, in the Middle East. Is that right?
So here's the thing. Yes, there's the cultural and there's the religious aspect. So Islamically, I have all the rights in the world. There's a woman named Khadija, one of the Prophet Muhammad's wives. She was a businesswoman, a lot richer than him. So it's just like Islamically, it gives me all the rights I need to thrive, survive. And anybody who gets in the way of that, even if it's your parents, you're not even. So we put our parents in high regards. But if they go in any guide, like against guidelines of that says like against women's rights or anything that's written like in our book, you don't have to listen to them. So my religion gives me all the rights I need. Like it empowers me. That the only reason I'm doing this is because I get the courage and empowerment from it. I get my value from it, right? My culture is the opposite. As much as I respect it, women are second-class citizens. And unfortunately, people don't practice faith. And, you know, sometimes people put culture over faith. And that's exactly what happened in the Middle East. They're like, you're a woman. Like they canceled a meeting on me. And I'm just like, okay, then you're not a person I would like to work with. So it's just kind of like it's it's people's attitude, and it tells a lot about their character. So that's why I don't concern myself, beside like the cultural dresses and the food and stuff, I don't concern myself with it. I only concern with the God-given rights that I have, and that's what empowers me to keep going. Because that's the only thing that matters. Because if it's not there, then other people's opinion do not matter. And that's what keeps me going. Because if I looked at culture as just in any culture, I don't think I've seen maybe like from the cultures that I've known where women are first class citizens. So I just try
Yeah.
not to pay attention to that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because I think your background, a lot of people that are from America, from here, think that they are behind the eight ball. But I mean, you came to America, you migrated here, and then you come from a place where it may be a little more difficult to break through than it is here as far as equal rights and being,
It
like you mentioned, like
is.
first class citizen.
And it's like, because there were so many barriers. You come here, I didn't speak any English. I talk about in my video about how I saw white people for the first time, like in person, once I got out of the airport. And I told my mom, like, look, white people, the people on TV, so that was very interesting to me. And then I saw like two couples kissing. I was like, oh my God, because we come from a very conservative culture. So it's just a lot of culture shock, like, no different language, different culture. So adapting to that, it was very interesting. It's definitely character building. I was looking at my yearbook from high school this morning, and there was a lot of sweet, you know, notes from my teachers and the students, except one teacher. I don't know if it's considered sweet, but I was like, what did I put this man through? He was like, Sumeya, it's been interesting. I don't know if I will say I'll miss you, but I'll always remember you. I was like,
Wow, that's
I was
honesty.
like, that is honesty. I was like, but like looking back, and I'm like, with all the trauma that I had, clearly I was not an easy child or an easy student, you know? But in comparison to the other teachers that were like writing in the yearbook, they were like, "Oh, you've grown so much. I know you're gonna do great things," or like, "You bring smile to this room." And it shows how different people perceive you. It also shows how, some teachers or had the ability to hold space for students and see them beyond their trauma, beyond them acting out. And there are
Yeah.
some others that may not have the same ability. So it's just kind of very interesting to see the growth from that troublemaker to now this businesswoman and running my own nonprofit and having the ability to really deeply understand people when they're going through these kind of things and see them, you know, just see them beyond what they're presenting, beyond the masks that they're having, and just be like, I understand you. This is not who you are. I have greater empathy because I've been in that shoes where I was like, I was bullied as a child because I was wearing this cultural dresses. I mean, I did not fit in. College was like where I felt like I fit in, like the entire middle school, high school, I did not fit in. I was bullied. So it was just kind of like it builds character, but it was just kind of on top of everything, it was a really harsh thing to have.
Yeah.
But it's just like it builds greater empathy to be like, oh, I was having like, how did people not notice like what's going on with this child? Did something happen? But it's okay. I'll be that adult now to do that for the other kids, because that wasn't done for me. So that's also like a positive thing to look at, you know.
I can relate 1,000% with you because I grew up, my childhood was very domestically violently filled with events and
Mm.
anything from having to call the police because I'm listening to my mom get beaten in the next room, to trying to run away myself. Um, and I was kicked around a lot and I was moved to different schools quite a bit growing up. Had to constantly make good, new friends. Had opportunities to reinvent myself every time I moved. If I knew I was kind of being, a pain in the ass at one school, I'd go to the next school and try to focus on studying and getting better uh, because I started maturing. But I struggled. I spent 9 years up until my freshman year, from first grade to freshman year, I was in special ed. Um, and I finally got embarrassed and tired of it, and I tested out of it. I was so fortunate to test out of it. Um, and I was told by my guidance counselor that I wasn't college material. They wouldn't allow me to take college classes my junior year. So I can identify, like, when you have a broken home and you have trauma growing up, it's hard to focus at school. And a lot of teachers don't see that. All they see is this shithead kid that's like showing up every day and is a pain in the ass. But like at the end of the day, you don't know that that kid didn't get any sleep last night, and that's a whole nother side to it. So identify with what you're saying. And I also, for folks out there that are listening to you for the first time, this is important too. Didn't you serve in the military?
I did for a few years in the army.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
did. I was culinary specialist.
after college,
Yeah, because they came to the high school. I was like, no, what do you, no way. And then the first semester, I was walking by and they were like, join the National Guard. And I wanted my freedom so badly. I don't like people telling me what to do. I was like, I need to take control of my own life. That's been, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. I ended up joining the active duty. And yeah, I was first semester. I didn't even finish the first semester. I was like, get me out of here. I want freedom. I want independence. And, a chance to serve the country. But it's once I actually got into basic and trade, that's when I was like, ooh, service and country. I really like this. Like it kind of sunk in beside just them paying for college. I was like,
yeah,
well, I really like the purpose of having this.
yeah,
Yeah, I did. You know what's so crazy? Before I left, one of my brothers, actually, I need to thank him because I didn't think I did. He was like, you're a woman, you're not gonna make it in the military. I was like, screw you. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I hung up the phone call. And then we were having we were doing the under fire uh training. And then the weapon, I was supposed to put it behind your back. I put it in front of my face. Ay, Sumeya. And then it was just hitting me in my face. And we were crawling. And the guy was like, do you want to give up? And then all I could hear was you're not gonna make it. I was like, prove him right? I was like, I don't think so. I was like, hit me with that rifle, and I made it. And it was so funny. Or anytime I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And think of oh, there was a mountain. I'm like, should I just leave? I'm like, oh, so they could be like, no, you can't make it. I was like, oh, I don't think so. So just kind of grit and anger and be like, oh, so just, I was like, you told me I can't do it. Now I definitely have to do it. It just made me go through basic, go through the army. So thank you, bro. I needed that. So I appreciate you saying that. So that was really good for me. So yeah, I should call him and thank him actually, because that
S-
made it like that. That was good. Yeah.
sometimes the naysayers can be your highest motivation, right?
I need that. I need the naysayers because something in my brain flips and I get this will. I get this power. I don't know where it comes from. And then, but I'll just make it happen. But I have to care about the cause. At that time, I cared about my livelihood, my independence, my service. And it turned something, and I was just like, I just had to do it. It's like the power of the mind. No, I appreciate naysayers because they keep me, on my toes and I elevate my game and I do the best I can be. So thank you, naysayers, because you're making me do better. So yeah,
There it
I
is.
appreciate
Thank
them
you,
for,
haters.
yeah,
So, man,
keep them coming.
the yeah, thank you, haters. No, I want to get back to talking about your nonprofit.
Mm.
The core mission pillars of the nonprofit organization. Would you mind talking about that?
Yeah, so we have about 12, but one of them is so I'm going to give you the maybe three that we really use. Sustenance comes from the creator, not people. This one's very, very important to me because as a woman, I find myself in situations with powerful people where, you you're asked to compromise your values to get where you need to be. But then I have to step back and I'll be like, you know, the money doesn't come from you. You're just a vessel a means for it. The resources do not come from you. God will provide it. So I just get into my prayer, man. I pray, and He loves me. I always joke and I say I'm God's favorite because He doesn't even make me wait 24 hours. There's always something comes up and I get help. But it allows me to stand by my values, and then it allows me to not put people on a pedestal because I'm like, you're just a human being, And my bosses, I'm like, okay, I respect you, but you're not in charge of my livelihood. So if I leave, I can leave because everything that's meant for me is written. So you're not in control of it. So it doesn't allow people to control me. Like I'm in charge of my own life. And it's just, I can walk away. I've walked away from money, opportunities, even when I needed it the most. I was just like, I'm trusting you, please. And he always comes through. But it's just kind of it creates this kind of confidence and charm and charisma and light once you don't give people the power to be like, oh, if I don't do this job, or if I don't do this favor, or if I don't do what they say, like I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be out of a job. I'm going to be out of a home. But there's like that's also where it's like there's always another option. Go find it. Like value comes in. There's always other opportunities. I just don't let people control me, and it's just kind of like so people think as that as ego or like standoffish. I'm like, no, it's not. It's like I respect you, and either you're gonna do this, deal because we have mutual respect with each other, or you're not. But I'm not gonna beg you because either you do it or you don't. It's fine if you don't if you decide not to do it. Okay. And they're just like, that's it. I'm like, that's it. And so the only way I define ego is as long as I'm not thinking that, I'm not giving God, like as long as I'm giving God credit, it's not ego. That's it. That's how I look at it, no matter how people think of it. And the other one is like embrace the suck. That's the army, military kind of. It's going to be really sucky. It's not always sunshines and rainbow, and you're going to get hit in the face. People will, undermine you and will not treat you right. And the world is an unfair place. And you're just going to be like, okay, this sucks. And what else can I do about it? And then you'll find another way. It'll be fine. It's like, whatever, we're going to go. And then the other one is like, be willing to suffer because like when I'm telling people with my organization, what makes us different is like my organization helps the people who want to help themselves. So if you feel like you're like, I'm going to be in this victim mode and I'm not going to do anything for myself, woe is me. But I'm like, okay, but when you're ready, give me 1 second. Like if you're saying, hey, woe is me, and nothing like, the world happened to me, I'm gonna be like, okay. But when you're ready to say, I'm gonna take charge of my own life, these people are not gonna control my life. I can make, I can take, charge of my own destiny, then we will be ready for you with the tools, with the financial assistance, with the partners to be able to help you. We'll be there for you. This is for people, survivors who are ready to take charge of their own life, who are willing to suffer for it. Because when you're speaking up, when you're daring to say, this person did this to me, it takes risk. It could risk your life. It could risk your future. It could risk your career. This is for people who are willing to take the risk to be like, these people are not in charge and I'm in charge. I could do it. Like I can make this happen. And of course we want them to do it. We want to make sure that they're in a safe space to be able to do these things and we can help them get to that place. But we want them to have that mindset they can save themselves and that suffering is part of the process to get to where you need to be. So those are like key values that we have, pillars.
Are all very military related pillars, right? Because that's kind of the base of your foundation when you, I guess, joined adulthood at a young age. You joined the military, and probably a very eye-opening experience for you. And I want to ask you this question because I'm not sure, but have you spoken to or experienced, like we've been talking about women specifically, but has any men talked about military sexual trauma before to you?
No, unfortunately not. They talked to me about like civilian life experiences, but they have not. I'm glad you asked that question because when I went to Sharp and SARP to talk to them about this, they're like, we also serve men. So because you're only serving women and children, that might be in conflict because then
Right.
you're not solving all of our demographics. Don't get me wrong. I love men. I respect men. It's just our organization only serves women and children, male or female. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
So I have not had men come to me and say because, we're at the beginning of our journey. They might come.
Right.
And then if they do, then we'll refer them to partner organizations who can handle these kind of cases,
Right.
because everybody deserves help. It's just everybody has to do it within their own ability and within their own mission, organizational mission.
Yeah, and I could see some people criticizing that. But like you just mentioned, you have to stay within your own wheelhouse with what you understand.
You can
So,
do it. Yeah.
right, right. Like it would be hard for you to identify possibly on what that would be like for a male. One of my first episodes, I was talking to my dad, and he told me a story about when he was a drill sergeant, and this was back in like 1978. And when he was a drill sergeant, one male soldier, I don't know, is that the right term? Soldier?
Yeah, soldier. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking, I'm getting confused with Marines because Marines, they call them candidates or whatever.
Army soldier, yeah.
Soldier, or see if you're a soldier when you're in basic training, but it was an Army private in trainee or whatever you want to call it, had sodomized another male. And this was back in 1978. And I just, it probably doesn't happen. It obviously doesn't happen as much as, men to women, but I would imagine there's specific groups out there that would better be able to define and understand men that have gone through that before. So that makes sense that you're staying within your lane, within your wheelhouse with what you understand and focused on the community that you mostly identify with. So I just wanted to throw it out there because while you were talking, I was thinking about the people that you serve. But can you talk about specifics on what type of support systems or services that you currently offer?
So before we get to that, I want to just add to the last thing about men. Those people who are criticizing, if you want that organization so bad, go create it yourself. People criticize, and I'm like, I want to change for myself and the community. Right. I've created the organization. You're in the sideline criticizing me. Get up. I can refer you. Let me know how to go. We're under a core foundation. They're fiscally responsible for us. You can go open a cause with them, and they're more than happy to help you. Yeah. So just like, don't criticize from the sidelines. Go out and do the work yourself. And do the fight for the causes you're passionate about. So it doesn't mean that we don't want to help men. We're going to refer them to the right people. Right. But this is the causes that we are passionate about, and we're doing something about it. You also get up, do something about it.
Right. But it's so much easier to criticize and just type stuff into the internet and be a keyboard warrior. You know what I mean? It's so easier. It's so much easier to talk about something else versus you getting off your butt and creating something else. And that's just the way of the world. That's just the way it is.
And that's why not everybody's opinion matters. Something that Brene Brown says, those who are, I'm bangling this quote, but the people who matter are the ones with you in the arena, not in the sidelines. Right. Those are the people whose opinion matters and you should take into consideration, not people on the stage booing and woohooing. No, if you're in the arena with me and we're working together and you're telling me something, then your opinion is valuable because you're doing something about it. Then I'll take your opinion. But I can't take everybody's opinion, especially if you're not doing anything about it. I'm like, go do something productive. Everybody has free will. Go do something about it, and just keep it out of my comment section. Yeah.
I could go down that rabbit hole so much because that extends to even family and close friends. Yeah. Sometimes that they don't understand what it is you're doing, but as long as you know what you're doing, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, it's all that matters. Yeah. And then so the services. What was that?
Yeah, so the tail end of that question was talking about the specific services or the support systems that you offer.
Thank you, KP. Yes, the services that we want to offer is because our charity kickoff. We have two kickoffs: the August 20th gala and the September 29th golf tournament, which we'll talk about later. The services we want to offer is for active duty women. We want to provide them civilian lawyers who could help them pro bono, which will pay for the lawyers. Because when you accuse somebody, like we mentioned, of sexual assault, rape, or domestic violence, the walls of the military can close in on you. You can lose rank. And you could just be, this black sheep of the military. So we want us to be their first line of defense, where they're like, this happened to me, what do I do? And then we connect them with a military lawyer. We'll connect them with our partners, mental health specialists, but we'll connect them with the civilian lawyers who are familiar with the UCMJ, and then let them, walk them through what they need to do, what right thing is, so that they could avoid making mistakes, so they don't find themselves in a position where, because the military is the judge, jury, and executioner, because they have their own, they have their own system. And we want these women to be protected. So one of the services is the lawyers. And then for domestic violence and for the children is, the mental health help they need. And for the domestic violence, let's say, the mother and the child are both dealing with domestic violence or sexual trauma. and the woman is like ready to move with her kid, we'd be like, okay, we're gonna help you pay subsidies 3 to 6 months for childcare, and we're gonna help you pay your utility bills. We're gonna connect you with this mental health person. And thankfully, if they are, military and veterans, we have Act Now Education. We could be like, these people provide you resources and education and jobs. So we'll connect them with the people they need to do. But the important thing about our organization is that we provide financial help, and we don't pay it directly to the individual. We pay it to the organizations that is helping them.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you mentioned Act Now Education, because you've been an instrumental figure in Act Now Education with helping produce the newsletter. And I think it's important for us out there to reach out and network, but have those resources, because now, Sumeya, you have the contacts. So if your folks need help, you can, directly where to go, how to get there, and you're not just throwing them like an internet link and saying, click on this and figure it out. I mean, you're intimately involved in that. And I love that part about you. We talked about that a few months ago, and you've been absolutely, as they say, leaning forward in the foxhole with heading off, at real community help. And that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for, for the referral for me to, work with Act Now Education. I love volunteering for them. They do great work for the community. So it's really good to have, it's because they're all volunteers. So for the amount of work
Yeah.
they do and the dedication, they motivate me to do more. So it's really nice.
I didn't want to give you time to thank me for that, because it's really not me, it's you. At the end of the day, I've recommended things to people before and they just simply don't listen. The fact is that you are it's on you 100%. You've actually been a real instrumental gear in the entire machine of what we've been doing with Acno Education.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I understand that you have a couple of events coming up, and as you prep for the charity kickoff, what successes have you had so far?
Oh my goodness. This organization, I was like, this idea, I've been having this idea for years, but I put it to action this April. And we've got about 6 big corporate partnership, 7 local business. The 7th one is so 7 total, like big, partnerships that we're having, where they're sponsoring our foursomes for the golf tournament. The gala, we already got like a few sponsors, and they're quick. They're like, yeah, I'm in. And it's just kind of like, the foursome is $1,000. It's not, it's affordable, reasonably priced, to other people's opinion. But it's not just, it's hard earned, income that people don't just throw their money and time. So the fact that they believe in me, they believe in this mission, as soon as they hear it, they're like, yeah, what do I do? Like, what do I do? What can I do to help you? So they just sign up. And then it's so crazy because they're just so supportive. And I feel like I'm constant state of flow. Like, I love my company, like Phoenix. And it's like I've had a lot of hurdles with it. But I started Rise Above, preparing for this kickoff in April, and I've never seen so much support. Everything just flows like water, like the river in Egypt. And it's where's the and it feels so easy. And it makes me recognize how good people are. And as much as backlash I receive from my community for talking about this publicly and doing this, blah blah, the amount of support I'm getting, it's out of this world. Like big corporation, companies, businesses, military, like it's crazy. And it's just, I think the biggest success, more than the money and the sponsorship, is just a renewed faith in humanity. Of there's so many people willing to fight this evil. There's so many people who are kind, who are passionate. But it's just kind of like, it shows you, wow, like people are, can be this beautiful, gorgeous, successful, but then they also have their own story they want to share, and they also feel seen. And it's just, I'm seeing so many people where they're like, they feel seen, they want to be a part of it. I've never seen something like this. It's people from different backgrounds. I never felt more connected. I never felt more successful, like people wise. It feels everything is coming so easy. It's not effortless, but feels easy. It feels like this is what I'm supposed to do. So it feels very successful because it brings people together. It's like hope to survivors, like you're not alone. Don't listen to the people who are on your ears, the negative ones, making you think like it's your fault, because it's not, you know. They don't want you to be powerful and passionate and take charge of your own life. And yeah, and it's just other times they're scared too, because then they have to face the fact that they were negligent.
Yeah.
So it's the people that was the successful part, how it brought people together and it continues
Yeah.
to bring people together.
Life be that way, man. Like when people see other people doing things that's foreign to them and they're glowing up and moving up and making progress. I don't know what it is, man. I feel like other people can just become haters. Like even some of your closest friends and family, people you would not even suspect. Um, and
Fortunately.
I want to comment on what you mentioned. You know, you got the product that you see today isn't necessarily isn't necessarily something that was beautiful once before. I mean, talk about your childhood and the trauma that you dealt with growing up versus the powerful, beautiful entrepreneur woman that you are today. Life wasn't always like this. It wasn't always this beautiful dress and things like that. And even for me, like people see what I'm doing and they assume that I had a great life growing up, and it wasn't terrible, but I had its strong points and its very weak points.
Yeah.
Um, going to war and all these things that I had to go through. It hasn't been easy. It's been a lot of resiliency. Um, and I think it's beautiful that you have seen that and witnessed that through the stories that you have encountered on this journey of having this nonprofit. And
Mm.
I think that just underlines that so much. How do you go about identifying and recruiting individuals for mentorship or any of the support programs that you have?
You mean like the people we're going to help or the people like in my committee that's making this happen?
I think it's important to talk about the people that are helping you out. How do you find your circle? Because you're only as strong as the people next to you, right?
Hmm. Yes, so it has its trials and tribulation. So some of them they find me, others I find, and others they refer to me. And some of them because they had a story of domestic violence, or others are like they want to be a part of it, where they want to help, and be like, you know what, I want to be part of this change. Um, and some of them are, they're just like who appreciate the bold action that we're taking, and they're like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. So it's just it's a mix of survivors, allies, supporters. It's really like I have a really great team, and they want to be a part of it. They want to do great things. They see we're doing great things, and they're just like, what can we do? And they're really hard workers. I wouldn't be able to do this without them. So it's very, yeah, it's a mix. It's a mix, and I love it. I love my team.
I truly believe that intuition, and I truly believe that things and people happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Like even my connection with you started out with you um, taking advantage of a program that Act Now Education was offering, and I wanted you to share your story, and it's led to two additional podcasts,
Podcast, yeah.
and it's led to you having your own business, your own international business. Let's talk about
Yeah.
that, right? And now you're starting this nonprofit. So, your circle just gets bigger and more quality the
Mhm.
more you put yourself out there. And I do believe that things happen for a reason. How
Definitely. And then like the gala as well, like I just wanted to say some things about it. So the gala is going to be August 20th, Wednesday, from 5:30 p.m. at 8 to 8:30 p.m. at the Tower Club Tysons. And so this gala is like specifically going to be, all the funds we raise is going to be for the active duty women and veterans that we have. And then for the people that are coming in, like so they can expect to have, food, drinks, enjoy themselves, good music. And then because we have sponsorship opportunities, we're gonna have like people from different backgrounds, like businesses, government, military. So people you want your business to be highlighted, then you get, a banner for your business. You get great company, you get great networking opportunity, all while supporting a cause that, makes a profound impact on the lives of veterans, women and children, and active duty members. So it's just kind of like very, it helps both of you. It helps our organization, and then it also helps you, with your whatever business you're doing or mission you're set on. Like there's a perfect opportunity to mix and mingle with different backgrounds. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and so attendees can expect to do a lot of socializing, a lot of networking at this event. What?
We have
Why did you?
speakers as well. We're gonna have a few speakers as well. That's my plan. So maybe at least 2, 3.
Okay, and you chose the Tower Club for this venue. What exactly does that setting symbolize?
So the Tower Club, it's so amazing because they were my first sponsors for the golf tournament. So we have a general manager, Dane Scott. And I went up to him and I was like, I want a meeting. And he was like, okay, I have an event coming up and I want to discuss it with you. He was like, sure. And he was like very quick. And I was like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do this for the military community. This is a golf tournament. And I want your sponsorship. Just like that, And he just looked at me for a moment and he's like, okay. And then he's like, and he's like, the Tower Club is like really proud to support, because it's a noble cause. They love the military community because there's a lot of active duty and retired, members there. And he feels like, the sacrifice they make for our freedom is great. So he's like, I'm in, he decides to, he's like, yeah, I'm going to sponsor you. This is so crazy because literally my first sponsor. So I'm just going to him and I'm like, yeah, I'm Undercore Foundation, our fiscal sponsor, and I have this mission and I want to help my military community and civilians. So I need your sponsorship. Like, this is a big corporate. They've been in business for like, I don't know, more than 40 years. And I'm coming to him and I've been a member for like a year and a half. And I'm like telling him my mission and he's like, I'm in. I was like, you're in? I'm just like, but I was like, don't act surprised. I was like, oh, thank you, And he just sponsored me. I was like, oh, thank you. And it's like, also it's elegant and classy. It's like business club. And it's first, it's like the people. Second, it's like his belief in me. And then just the area is really
Yeah.
nice. I like to do, serve good causes while looking elegant and having fun.
And
But
where is that at?
this is in Tyson's Corner.
Okay, it's in DC area.
Yeah, Tyson's. I think the address is, let me see. Should we put it later or should we say something now?
We can say something now for folks
Okay, let
listening
me
out
pull
there.
it. Yeah,
If
let
you're
me
from the
see.
DC, if you're from the DC area,
Yes, let me look at that. Yeah.
it's so frustrating sometimes when I'm on like Instagram or listen to a podcast and somebody like calls out the name of somewhere and I'm like, well, what city is that in? Is that even in my time zone?
It is. It's EST. Well, it's not in your time zone. Here it is. The address is 8000 Tower Crescent Drive, Suite 1700, Vienna, Virginia. And it's called the Tower Club Tysons. And for members, they can get it on the invited app. For non-members, there's an Eventbrite link, which I will send to you so you can share with your people with the Formation Nation. But
Nation.
Formation Nation. But what's so crazy about Dane is like, so all my life, I got this good because people undermining me and just kind of like, I had to fight for everything. Nobody gave me anything. So I just have to be like, I have to go and take it, So with him, he just believed in me. He's just like I believe in you and here you go. Like he believed in me. He didn't undermine me. He wasn't sexist. He wasn't, because mind you, he knows I'm a new golfer. Like I started golfing a year and a half ago. And I was like, you know what, golfing is open for everybody. And I want a charity cause, so I'm going to do golf tournament because I can and nobody can tell me nothing. And then, I'm coming to him and I'm telling him this is my cause. And he's just like, yeah, I support you. And it's just like, wow, this is really nice. Because I'm a person who's like literally, like whether it's undermining, bullying, or just, I come from space and experiences where it's not easy. Nothing is easy. And for him to just be like, yeah, I believe in you. And to see to be seen. You know, they say to be loved is to be seen. Or to be seen is to be loved. It feels like I felt seen, and he just, he was just like, yeah, I believe in your mission and what you're going to do. I see who you are, and I felt like I felt seen, and he just believed in me, and that creates something, that
A lot
breeds
of
loyalty,
confidence. A lot of
a lot of
confidence too,
confidence.
right?
Yeah, because they're saying like the Tower Club is sponsoring the Rise Above Be Relentless Foundation. They're not just hosting the fundraiser, they're hosting as the fundraiser and they're sponsoring the golf tournament. They're doing both. So it's like it's a lot of confidence, and it's really inspiring, and it's just kind of like, oh my God, there is good people. Like I don't have to jump through hoops for somebody to be like, yeah, I believe in your cause, and to see my work ethics and just my energy and my goals, and just to be like, yeah, I trust you. And it's just kind of like really glad to be a part of that. And I know he's gonna like take this club in a really, really great direction because, he supports the underdog, and I appreciate that. So those were
I think at the end of the day, the important part is you. And what I mean by that is, um, you are trusted, and your heart is in the right place because you are doing work for another nonprofit. You're very authentic, and you can put a brand on anything, but who's running it? I think that's the most important thing out there. And it sounds like you're on your way to building a very incredible, trusted community because, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, there's a lot of mistrust, especially with the MST
yeah.
space. Bringing back truth and honesty and authenticity is absolutely important. Because I've seen too many folks out there in the last few years, just like you mentioned earlier, the rage bait, the clickbait, whatever you want to call it.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. And it's like, yo, like, let's bring this back to a serious conversation and stop looking for clicks. Let's really help people that need help and don't accuse people that have done absolutely nothing wrong. And that's what I really appreciate about your nonprofit. Now, the proceeds for that gala, where are they going specifically?
So they're going to go specifically for the active duty and veteran women. So it's going to be specifically for the military. This gala is specifically for the military. The golf tournament is for both my nonprofit, for the military community, and the civilian community. But the gala specifically, this one is a military service gala.
Got it. And
Yeah.
for folks out there who can't attend the gala, but they want to still support the cause, how can they do that?
So the people who cannot attend the cause, the events, they can still support by donating. We appreciate it. And then the sponsorship, they can sponsor us. We'll put their company logo in there. You don't even have to show up, We share the events on social media, do outreach on our behalf, try to get as many veterans and military community to the gala and the tournament. We would love that. Just create social media buzz. And, and just more than that, just maybe have this tough conversations with your family members. Maybe there might be a lot of them who this happened to and they didn't come forward, but just let them know that you're going to be a listening ear and that you're not going to judge, and that, you're sorry that you weren't there. Because one of the things I want to make clear is like, there are families and friends who, at the time, with all this, heinous things are happening, were not there for you. Okay, but now they regret it, right? And now they're saying, "Hey, I wish I could have done something." And if you're a parent or a sibling or a friend saying, "Well, I wish I was there for this person. I made mistakes," and you regret that, now is your chance to be with these individuals, have these conversations, not shy away from them, and just be like, "I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, but I can be here for you now." So that's the only way to make it up for them. Just saying like, "I'm here for you." So that's something you could do for us more than money, is just be there for the people, who need you, and show them that that you have their back and that you support them, and feel free to donate at the same time as well. But
Let's also mention too. Let's also mention too the social media. I think sometimes just subscribing and adding yourself to Rise Above Be Relentless is important too. What social medias are you on?
So I'm in Instagram, TikTok, I'm gonna have to add Facebook. And then so we're Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn as well. And yeah, just add, subscribe, engage with the content, share our posts and our stories. That would really help us go a little bit further. So we really appreciate you because this is not my organization, it's our organization because this is something we're doing for society. So we need everybody to be involved in this cause.
Sumeya, what do you think your long-term vision for the Rise Above, Be Relentless Foundation is going to be over the next 5 to 10 years?
Of course, international. You know me, KP. I
Hmm.
don't do anything small. So right now we're in the DMV bases, in the DMV area. But anybody who needs our help, we're not gonna deny them services. But we want to go from like the local area that we're in, we want to go national, and after that, international. We might have like different subdivisions, but I want to make this, eventually, yeah, we're dealing with, assault, rape, and domestic violence now, but down the line, we might get into human trafficking. It's just kind of like I want to make changes on a global basis. I've always been a global child, raising a global kid. So my businesses and nonprofits are always going to be eventually going to end up being global because it's not just the women that are in America that are dealing with this. It's women in Egypt, women in, different parts of Africa and Asia. Like they need us. So we can do it if we have the ability. Like, why not? This is a
And
global initiative.
I need to underscore your background again because you are from East Africa. You are a
Mhm.
military veteran. You did work for CBP. So when
Yeah,
you're talking about the trafficking part of it, I mean, you had some insight into that during your
yeah,
time working with Customs Border Protection, right?
exactly.
Um, how do you stay grounded talking about such a emotionally charged issue?
Ooh, okay. Great question. So I did call back my therapist because to go through this journey, because it's like I'm talking about it publicly. I am, it's in my face 24/7. I'm thinking about it all the time because I have to help this person. I have to do this. So a lot of prayers, a lot of meditation, exercise. I exercise at least 4 to 6 times a week. Friendships, and just kind of like also putting in boundaries because a lot of people are going to have unsolicited opinions. I had a guy from the community call me and says, "Hey, I saw the video." And I'm like, and what do you want me to do that with that information? He was just like, "Oh, it's not good for our community. Like, people are going to think we have rapists here." I'm like, "We do. That's the whole point." Yeah, it's just, if you want us to be mediators, I'm like, it already happened. And I'm like, this is not me doing a video to announce to people, oh, I was assaulted. This is me showing courage, encouraging others to come forward, and then creating an organization to help them. So I was like, if you're truly a Muslim person, like you said, God-fearing person, then I would be surprised if you could stand behind me in this organization and actually provide help. And he was like, yeah, 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 of course we're going to help. And then he was like, I have to go. I'm like, okay, have a good day. Of course he didn't help and still talk to other people about it. But it's just those are the kind of people where I'm just kind of like, I have to stand firm, stand grounded. And I'm just like, either you help or you step out, get out of my way. Don't stand in my way. And and then anger really helps. Whenever I'm like feeling like this, I'm like, get angry, remember the mission, and I'm just like, all right, I'm back to ready for the fight, and it helps. So a lot of exercise, meditation, prayer, therapy, friends. You need a community. You need a lot of community, social life. It's a must
Yeah,
because it's a very heavy. It's very dark. It's very dark. It's very dark.
social life.
So.
Social life. What's that? No, I'm just kidding. For anyone out there who may be struggling, what advice would you give them to start rising above and becoming relentless?
Okay, so thank you for that question. Right now, if you're a survivor, I like to say a survivor, not victim, because victim, you're like somebody's victim. You're not somebody's victim, okay? You survive, you thrive, you're an overcomer, and you rise above the things that happen to you. So if you're a survivor, it could have happened today, it could happen yesterday, it could happen decades ago. Of course, the obvious feelings are something's wrong with me, I feel damaged, I'm unworthy, it's my fault. It's not. That's the first thing. Like, it's hard to believe, but just keep telling your brain it's not. And you might get suicidal thoughts. You might be, end up in not a really good relationships, abusive relationships. I just need you to step back and think, like, okay, I know this is what my brain is telling me, and I'm taking all this blame in my head, and I'm making everything my fault. These are the feelings, and they're valid, but they're not true. I'm worthy just because I exist, because we're here for a reason, and no one person could determine our worth or event could determine our worth. And then I want you to get angry. Be angry because that will keep you from spiraling into this depression and things like that. Be angry so that you could be a force of change for yourself first before you could be a force of change for other people. And be audacious. Be audacious because the people who are either the abusers, the perpetrators, the people who are supposed to protect you who didn't protect you, they're audacious. They're gonna blame you. They're gonna make you feel guilty. Where do they get that audacity from? Like, I'm trying to understand. Like, ask yourself, I'm like, they're in the wrong and they're making you feel guilty. Like, be angry at that. And then just be bold and just be a bitch. Like, just be like, I don't think so. Excuse my language. Say no back. Like, just be like, who do you think you are? Like, make them feel the shame, not you, because you didn't do anything. You really did not do anything. So anger does keep you going, but just make sure you have like a good outlet. Be angry first and then get help. Reach out to me. There's so many mental health resources. And as soon as our charity kickoff, because I didn't have a foundation for me when I was going through this, but I created a foundation for the next girl, for you, for the next child. So I'm here to be a listening ear. I'm here to support you whatever you need. The organization here is to support you whatever you need. So if you're scared to leave like a domestic violence situation, we're here. We're going to be the strength you need until you can give that strength to yourself. You have a community here who's not going to judge you, who's going to support you. We're here. We're going to be here so that you're protected and you're loved and you're cared for. You're not alone. Like, just know that you're worthy, and nobody has the right to treat you in a terrible manner. Nobody has the right to take anything away from you that does not belong to them, and that they should just remember they should be ashamed, be angry at that, and that will give you. Anger is a very, very powerful emotion that will get you up from your bed and want to break things. I like to go smash rooms, so go ahead and break things there. Just channel it out, but just, you're not alone anymore. That's why this foundation is existing, so that you don't feel like you're alone. You're not scared. If you're scared of leaving that abusive husband, you got help here because you're not alone. We're your community. If you're scared of coming forward, we're here. You're not alone. You're not alone anymore. That's why we're here. So just remember that you're not alone. It's not your fault. Be angry and stand up for yourself, and be audacious and be bossy and be bitchy. Do whatever you need to do legally, to heal from this, to get yourself up from the floor and to stand up for yourself, because nobody, you have to save yourself, and then we'll help you get to where you need to be. That's what I would like to say.
So, yeah, what's a smash room?
That might be it's a rage a smash room. Let me clarify so it's not something dirty. People think something dirty. Smash room is where you go. It's a rage room. I should have
They have those over there?
Yeah, we have rage rooms. So where you go, it's so funny. You have like old computers, you get like just unused like printers, you get things like household stuff, plates, and you just get them up and just break them. And then they give you like hammers to break it with them. They give you bats. Like, you get to like raging music or whatever music you want to listen to.
That's a business?
Oh, that's a whole business. People have a lot of anger, I'm trying to tell you. And it's so, so fun. And you just like picture the person you don't like print it out. Print out the abuser and put it in there and just feel like you're smashing them like in that smash room, like in the rage room. You'll feel so much better. And if you can't afford that, get like, kitchen plates and smash those outside. Like, those are really good ways of outlets. But there's just so many ways to let this go, let it out of your system.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to tell them is like, secrets held in the body will, manifest in the body in a form of sickness. So when you hold the shame, when you hold the secrets, when you hide this trauma and do not say anything, you will probably feel neck pain, back pain, other issues. So let it out so you could free yourself. First, let it out.
Right.
That's the first step. Let it out. Free yourself from it because it's not your shame to carry. And then you'll rise, you'll shine, you'll be this amazing person. And the world is your oyster. Really.
I really wasn't thinking smash room in that sense, but I wanted to, because not every area has that. I've never heard of that before. That's a real business.
Really?
I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, it sounds cool. It reminds me of Office Space. That scene where they go out in the middle of the field and they destroy that printer, or whatever it was. I mean, that was such a clever scene. It was before its time, but
Yeah,
uh,
it's needed.
Sumeya, your passion and purpose and persistence is truly inspiring, and I absolutely love the work that you're doing, and I really appreciate, like I mentioned before, the authenticity and the honesty that you're bringing back to this issue, because I think that's really important. These last few years, the things that we've gone through, and the people that have been wrongly accused, and the people that have really needed help but haven't been heard. Just to round out the podcast, was there anything that I didn't mention on this show that you want to mention now before we finish off?
Yeah, the golf tournament. So we mentioned it a little bit. So the golf tournament is September 29th, right?
Okay.
So we got a lot of golfers so far, but we want a little bit more. So come join us, sign up for golf foursome. So it's literally $250 per person. So bring your other 3 friends, to come play with you. This is just a fun game. It's not competitive. And enjoy yourself there. And then once you do a foursome, you get to sponsor, you get a chance to sponsor your company, logo, signs, and everything. You get to network with really important and successful individuals. It's a really good opportunity to, serve the military community. Just show up, sign up to volunteer. We would love to have you there. And this is going to be at Belmont Country Club on Monday, September 29th.
Cool.
Yeah, so
That
that'll
sounds
be exciting.
sounds like when you could smash golf balls down the fairway, right?
Yeah, so golf, you have to be relaxed. You know what I noticed with golf? I was playing with someone that really irritated me. And every time he made a comment, I hit the ball so hard. I've never hit it so well. And it just went above the water and it went to the greens. I was like, you know what? You should irritate me more often. So I noticed that was like one of my motivations. So if that works for you, bring someone that annoys you to the golf club and they will put you like in your best game. So yeah, and tennis is really good for anger issues. That was like really like just imagine people you don't like on these balls and you'll do fine. You have tons of
Yeah, sports and exercise can certainly be healthy for sure. About it.
healthy. Yeah, it's
So
awesome.
health, and we've been having some great weather, at least out here
Oh
on
my
the
God.
West Coast. I'm sure on the East Coast you have too, right? So,
Yes. And then like the Belmont Country Club has, let me see. Trying to see what let me get the address like we said for them specifically.
yeah, I'd also
So
like you. I'd also like for you to send me all those links too, so I
Oh,
can
I
put
will.
them at the bottom. So if you're listening to this, scroll down to the show notes or the description, and all the links that we mentioned here will be available down there at the bottom, so you can click on them and follow, support, even on social media, or even join the gala or the golf tournament that's going on there in the DC area as well.
It's going to be so fun. And then the address for the Belmont is 19661 Belmont Manor Lane, Ashburn, Virginia. It is so beautiful. Really, that's why the foursomes are like $1,000 because it's so gorgeous. It's like a lot of water, angry geeses, like, just gorgeous view. You're gonna have tons of fun. We're gonna have food. We're gonna enjoy ourselves. So it's gonna be a fun time.
It sounds like it's a great time to get out with your friends and meet new people as well.
I agree.
And
So one of the biggest challenges, or some of the biggest challenges that we face running this nonprofit is there's a lot of gatekeeping and competition and like people feeling threatened that you're going to go in their territories. And my answer to that is, let's make this a collaborative event, because what's mine will always be mine and what is yours will always be yours. And no one could take that from the other person. There's plenty of opportunity. So let's just like as women, like put each other's crown. We're gonna be fine. The mission should be the survivors, not our own self-interest and egos. And it's like, being like being an immigrant, being a Black woman, and now that I wear the hijab, it's like it's a lot of, barriers of like, what are you doing in this area, like in this section? And I don't mind it. I don't mind the underestimation. I don't mind the criticism because it's just kind of like I can because I want to. I do it because I want to because I can. And that way these challenges are really important because once we get to where we need to be, then if there's anybody behind me who wants to do the same thing, there will be no gatekeeping here. We'll open the door for you. We'll give you the roadmap because, like I said, whatever is meant for me, like you can't take it, vice versa. And our goal is to make things easier for people, not make it, harder to fight for them to get into spaces. So our goal is like we're getting into these spaces, we're working hard, so yours can be like an easy pathway. Challenges are good for us because we can handle them, but I don't think people should have to fight and be scrappy, to this degree to help people. So we want to make things easier for people, to help other people, and it should not be a competition, especially in this nonprofit sector.
Right. Yeah, a lot of obstacles that are in the way, a lot of overcoming those obstacles, a lot of people saying no. Um, a lot of times people don't realize that how many no's you get before you get a yes, and you have
Oh
to
yeah.
stay in the pocket, right?
The amount of rejection I get, they don't see that. It's not seen. It's a lot of rejection. It's a lot of no's. But you know what this taught me? Before I used to be like scared of asking for money or like being weird or like framing things. Now I'm like, not, it's easy. Now I'm just like, okay, hi, I know you pledged to do sponsorships for us. Can you do it by this date and this date? If it doesn't work, can you give me alternatives? You know? And then it's just kind of like they pledge something, you tell them like, hey, can I get this date or this date? Like, which one does it work for? It's just kind of like, at first it's scary, but now it's just kind of like, it's okay to ask. And if they say no, then you move on to the next person. It's gonna be fine. But it's like, it's helping me get out of my shell more and not be weird of asking for sponsorships or money. Because I'm doing this it's not for me, it's for people. So like, I think there's something about doing something for people that gives you a lot more confidence. You're like, it's not for me. The money is to help your community. Please provide it. So it's kind of like you get out of your shell, you become more confident. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's really, really important for all of our listeners out there. If you're looking to support a cause that's real, raw, and relentless, focused on healing and empowerment, make sure you attend the gala on the 20th of August at the Tower Club. And then in September 29th, right?
Monday.
September 29th, join the golf tournament that's going to be helping Rise Above, Be Relentless. You can also learn more at riseaboveberelentless.betterworld.org as well. Make sure you follow Sumeya on all her social media accounts as well. Sumeya, I really appreciate you joining us for your powerful voice in this space. I'd like to say that I hope to continue to see you to keep rising, keep fighting, and keep being relentless as well. And just thank you for all the information and not only that, but sharing a piece of you, and what you're about, where you come from, and who you are on the podcast today. Just your time and all the technical difficulties that we dealt with today. I really appreciate you being flexible and giving me this opportunity. It's been a true honor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story and having me on again for the third time. And I know this won't be the last time, so I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, KP. You do a lot good for the community and for the Formation Nation, so you're pretty awesome.
You just helped me come up with a new tagline today. So
You
the
see what I'm doing? Like those ad placements? Like Formation Nation?
Formation Nation. Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you a chance to enjoy that beautiful East Coast weather today. It's getting afternoon time for you out there. For everyone else out there, make sure you tune in to Rise Above and Be Relentless. Like I said, follow them on social media. Check out their website as well. As always, I want you to stay tuned, stay focused, and stay motivated. Fall out.